really think, you know, you have to take away that champion. It's still incredibly strong right now, but it's going to be rookie's Azir that they want to pinch. So it's not even one of the supportive mids that he's felt more comfortable on throughout a lot of split number 3. It is going to be that carry-oriented Azir, one of his best champions of all time. But it's actually going to be Jarvan coming in as the first pick here for Wei. This has been a really popular pick for him recently. He's really started to gravitate towards it.
I was saying, hey, a little bit of prio picking in the earlier parts of this for the jungle and its first pick, so got to make use of it. Got to build a comp around it. I definitely want to see some extra wombo combo on top of this Cataclysm here, but AL need to find a rebuttal of their own, at least the first 2 picks for them. Looking at if they want to get something in the jungle for Tarzan as well. They do end up locking in the Kai'Sa for Hope.
You want to take away that secondary dive potential. Adding Kai'Sa for Gala obviously is not something you want to play into if you're AL. And I think specifically you can combo it off of a lot of different things. Annie ends up being the pick here, but Annie and Orianna, those are the 2 big picks for both of these mid laners. Orianna in particular has really been something that Shanks has found a ton of success on. Inversely, Annie has been something that Rookie has found a ton of success on over the course of this split. So if we do end up seeing that trade here, which I think is actually decently likely, that would make a lot of sense to me. But now I think investing into the bot lane, trying to take that Kai'Sa out of her comfort zone is also really important, while also comboing with the Jarvan. Something like an Alistar does make a lot of sense here.
We saw it in the clips that we showed of Meiko earlier, but his Alistar is deadly and terrifying. He will lock that one in, so the wombo combo is definitely going to be there. I know it's been a pivotal pick for a lot of supports in the LPL, but here provides that double lockdown that IG are looking for.
Yeah, and this opens up the door for even more options. If you don't want to go for that teamfight threat in Orianna, you can go for something like a Talia. Sivir combos really well with the Alistar, and it is going to get locked in here. People really like this Sivir early on in these Fearless best of 5s. They really like the options that it gives you to be able to play either safe or aggressive. You can play for late game, but you also shove in really heavily. It's just kind of a very easy pick to fit into a lot of comps, but talk about a very specialized pick. It's going to be the Qiyana locked in for Tarzan. You got to love this. Qiyana's risen in popularity so much, and Tarzan has been a player that has made the most of it, I think we can say.
I appreciate that our junglers have decided that they want to be a little bit more carry-oriented, all right? They've said, we want the resources. We have Zeds, we have the Qiyana's, we even have Nocturnes coming through, things like that. I would love this era of the LPL jungle itself, but is requiring that bar of execution. So we'll see if he can do that as we get into the second phase of bans. It is the Galio ban towards IG, so taking away more of that team fight special potential, as well as the Nico ban by IG against AL.
Yeah, really at this point, I think for IG, you want to ban out more setup. I think the amount of options they have to get this Qiyana Kai'Sa duo online is already scary, even with just the Annie, because you're going to have, plenty of other chances with other supports to potentially get in the game there. But you want to force, I think, Kael into maybe even like a tank engage support rather than a Nico or maybe a Rakan here that I'd like to see banned out that just have such consistent ways to be able to play make throughout the entire map. Inversely, on the other side, the Orianna ban, I would have expected Rookie to actually take this early. This is huge for AL, not only because it takes it away from the Orianna Jarvan combo, but keeps it open for Shanks for later on in the series. Again, something he's found a ton of success on. Renekton will be that final ban instead, though.
And we'll see if we get the top lane orientation of tanks here, as the Scion is going to be unleashed by Flandre. And that's a big wall to come up against in this team fight special here. But I know something that Cubby was very passionate about, we were talking about this series as a whole, is how TheShy has taken a little bit of that tank role from Flandre in his run with IG so far this year, and see if he wants to opt into something to counter that Scion in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's really funny. TheShy has some of the lowest KP of any top laner in the league and some of the highest DPM of any top laner in the league. He's not fighting often, but when he is destroying games. He is absolutely taking over fights, and so we'll see if they can take away that option. Flandre really has been a huge tank player. The Scion and the Ornn have really been key picks, but it is actually going to be the Talia. I felt like this is what IG maybe wanted to go for all along. Just one of these macro options. Galio off the board. Ryze not necessarily good with the rest of this draft. Talia definitely makes the most sense. The question now is, what's your tank buster? What's your TheShy carry pick on the top side? And it will be the Cassante, something that, hey, technically it's a tank. By sheer technicality, it does fall into that bucket.
You're right. You're right about that. Technically, it is correct. But really what I love to see is Rookie on this Talia. Not only is it a huge space provider, I love giving this guy any way of kind of creating or blocking space in team fights because of the way that he thinks about fights. So giving him a lot of success in that regard, and also giving him, you know, the Leo for the first time in the playoffs here. It is the final pick coming through as the Leona. So the long distance engage for Kael, an integral part to AL's strategy.
I think these two comps are very, very close, Mazel. I think they both spike at really similar times. The mid game's going to be really essential. You're looking at Talia Jarvan versus Annie Kiana. If one of those two mid jungle duos can get ahead, that could just be the game then and there. But both of these teams have more than enough tools to make it work. Maybe you slightly favor AL's consistent engage, mostly because of that Leona, but certainly not like, you know, Jarvan Alistair is going to have a ton of trouble there. Side lanes can be really key for IG, but I think both teams have given themselves the recipe for success here.
I'm looking at the objective scuffles, and I couldn't be more excited for this game number one. I think there's a little bit more breathing room in between those objectives for AL to find a lot more success, a lot of pick potential there as well. Like you were saying, a little bit of that with the IG side lanes, but I'm really looking forward to this kind of 3-item spike for IG to really come online.
Yeah, I mean, the scariest part is if you're staring down the barrel of, you know, Sivir and then Jarvan jumping on your backline, Cassante potentially being a massive issue. There could be very few answers, but again, Annie Kiana, you want to try to stop that in the mid game, that's up to you, and the Kai'Sa's there for bailout as well. Plenty of options for both teams. It's all going to come down to execution here.
It is indeed, and this is only the start of this best of 5, but is a do or die best of 5 between these two. IG wanting to prove that respect and honor can come back to Invictus Gaming by winning a championship, by making that run. But that journey to Silver Dragon Cup is blocked by AL, who are on a run of their own in the lower bracket. They are the champions of Split 2, and they want to make it back there for Split number 3. We get into the arena and into Game 1 for IG and AL.
Already got a bit of skirmishing going down in the jungle between these two. You want to see that action. I want to see some early pace stuff. I don't want to see a slow series here from either of these two teams, and somehow, some way, I think that we are going to get that action even with these comps. Very excited to see what ends up happening. It looks like junglers are going to be same side starting, but a huge ward actually placed down onto blue buff by AL that will be able to spot out quite a bit. Wei will very much be on vision here, so definitely a small advantage, but one that's certainly not insurmountable.
It's definitely not. Let's see. God, there's so much vision gameplay going on around here, though, as it will be the phase rush counters in the mid lane, by the way. It'd be nice to see how they utilize that, but my God, it's a little bit one-sided in the votes here early between these two, and I think rightfully so. There's a lot of fandom on the side of IG for the names on it, but not only that, but what they were able to do in this split 3 to get to this point.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I think you could realistically look at this team even in the, you know, early stages as kind of a reunion tour, you know, maybe a team that was past its prime. That's not how they've played at all throughout this year. They've been more than competitive. Remember, this is a team that finished 3rd in split 2. People tend to forget that because, oh, they weren't finished. Kael gonna get pushed in to take a tower shot.
Oh my God, the Void Seeker damage instantly procs the heal from Meiko. A lot of damage back and forth, and how spicy this 2v2 lane can get.
Yeah, I did not expect that damage coming out of Hope. That was really impressive, and it just goes to show that for all the people who say Kai'Sa's a weak early game champion, I think you mean Kae'Sa has low range and could struggle in some matchups. I'm not quite sure weak would be the word I would use, but definitely nice for AL to get the push down here bot.
All right, Meiko looks like he wanted to try to potentially get a back off, maybe go for that quick reset there. But I got to say, both junglers pathing down bot lane as they will be coming to the culmination of their clears here very quickly. Do we expect any skirmishing between the two over this Scuttle Crab?
I certainly think it's possible. I'm not quite sure I would want to risk the game on a Scuttle Crab skirmish. I think things are definitely at least a little bit in favor of IG here because of the sheer amount of push that they have. The timing on the back coming in here from Hope kind of signals that they're willing to give this over. But with Wei getting spotted out on the ward, perhaps Hope coming back down could be looking to contest.
They might try to go for a cheeky gank if Rookie tries to collapse here to try to help his jungler. Tarzan's waiting in the wings. Does have the freeze available here. He's going to see Wei. This is a little bit of a setup here. Oh no, Gala overextends, doesn't get his spell shield pop. Now the Void Seeker's coming out on Meiko. Meiko doesn't really have a health bar. Tarzan made the roundabout gank from around the world. He comes for your head as he's going for the kill to Meiko. That's going to be 2 quick kills to anyone's legend to start off this best of.
It's a brilliant play by Tarzan. They have no idea that he's made this gigantic flank on the other side of the map. Wei is just taking Scuttle Crab that entire time. He doesn't feel like he needs to help his bot lane because he thinks he can get there after he takes the crab. No siree. Tarzan capitalizing, getting that first blood. And I said it, Mazel, if one of these junglers gets ahead, it can be quite dangerous. Well, here you go. Kiana's got gold and look at top lane.
Oh my god, and he's got the freeze here too. TheShy is going to have to try to buffer it. Oh, or Tarzan just misses it. That works too, as TheShy will be just fine. And yeah, we saw in there that Tarzan is just being a menace across the map already. And I think these early games are going to be pretty spicy across this best of, as Gala just overextended a little bit on the transition, but you see, nobody expected the gank.
Yeah, I don't think he thinks this is an overextension. I think he's like, this is a 3v2. There's no Tarzan in sight. We can win this with our jungle, and Tarzan shows up out of nowhere. It's very easy to pick up the double kill there. You know, and the kills go in the perfect spot. Not only do you get one on Kiana, you get first blood on the Kaisa as well. TheShy gets pushed in here on the top side. Certainly couldn't ask for a better start if you're AL.
I also love it because he gave himself options. I think that's what I love about Tarzan, is he always gives himself multiple avenues in a lot of the play calling he makes, as TheShy is getting extremely low on top side. He is getting close to that level 6 though. But he like waited in that mid lane just in case Rookie wanted to collapse over. He knew he didn't have a lot of health there, so he could make that play, and now finds the bot lane play. So because of that, IG are going to try to recoup some of their losses. They're going to readapt their bot lane to top lane. And we'll end up seeing IG try to get prepped up for these grubs potentially.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is an early Cloud Drake, which means slightly less priority for IG's comp in particular, although it still is definitely valuable. But right now, Tarzan has full control because of the kill onto Hope right now in the bot lane. We'll just be getting poked out a bit by Wei, but Dragon has been started up, and I imagine it will get taken here.
So I was looking at some stats here, as just want to let you know, this is the 4th competitive game for Tarzan on Kiana. He has a 100% win rate. So, you know, small sample size, but results-based analysis says Tarzan's looking pretty damn good on the Kiana. You start with the Brutalizer as well. So he's going to have that and the early Dragon here. But now is the question of, can they actually contest for the grubs on the other side? That's a permanent buff that IG have already preemptively set up for.
Yeah, IG definitely in a spot to at least prioritize this early. We'll see if they have the tempo to be able to hold that position. Teleport is going to come down from Kael onto the top side. Hope will be making his way up here eventually. With that extra damage coming in here, it should be enough for AL to get control of this lane once more. But Tarzan's going to have to invest some resources. I don't think you want to give away these grubs for free against a team that has Talia Cassante. That side lane can be very dangerous.
Yeah, this is still a situation that we want to see anyone's legend ahead of the ball here. As if they are not ahead, then things get a little bit more tricky once we get further on in the game and some of that scaling starts coming online for IG. But about a minute until those grubs do spawn, we will get the redeploys from both mid lanes. We will get everybody in the top lane as well. Unfortunately, no TPs available for the top laners in the bot lane, so it will just be a 4-on-4 if they want the fight.
And the 4-on-4, I think, right now definitely favors AL with all of the gold in the pocket of the Kiana in particular. She should be in a pretty strong position to fight this out. But look at the vision, at least for now, not entirely set up around the area. It should be much easier for Tarzan to walk in there and get it, but they do actually have to set it up in order to feel as comfortable. Less than 30 seconds now on the spawn of that. I think especially you're looking mid lane now with Shanks having a little bit of lane priority. If he can get that push in, it's huge.
And these level 6s is going to be extremely big on the unlocking factor. As we see the level 6s coming out on bot lane. We've Flandre making it out with his unstoppable onslaught, but TheShy has used his all out, but more so in the 4-on-4. That's where I was talking about, because we do have junglers, level 6s. That is going to be extremely impactful. Tarzan has the go button. Wei also has his go button. These two setting up shop ahead of the grubs.
Yeah, Tarzan in there alone right now, but
Oh my
Wei's stuck.
god. That's the beauty of the Kaisa. You're never alone, and Tarzan has his hope in his pocket as he gets the grubs. Easy peasy for anyone's legend.
It's just effortless for AL right now. They're utilizing the pressure that they've generated perfectly. There's no way to engage this. IG sticking around. No jungle in the area makes this an impossible contest. Are they gonna try, or is this all just posturing?
I mean, they look like they want to try, but he's been saving the smite, so Meiko is just here, tries to get it. In the end, it's just going to be a little bit of pressure onto AL, and full map dominance so far by anyone's legend. Dragon control, grub control, and almost already at the feet.
This is an early game jungle masterclass so far from Tarzan. Exactly how to pressure your lead. And you're talking about two teams that really want to play through tempo and these objective skirmishes. If you can start getting ahead quickly in this game, it can snowball incredibly out of control. And Tarzan has absolutely done that, getting a lead not only for himself, but for his late game hyper carry bot lane. Hope is down almost 25 CS and is even in gold here. That's
absolutely terrifying in a lot of ways. But, if you want to learn how to use these snowballs to your effect and find a little bit of promise in your games, go to prodiff.gg. You can get one-on-one coaching from them to improve your game and really learn how to utilize some of these snowballs and be just like Tarzan. Use LPL 10 to save 10% off Prodiff and go get some one-on-one coaching from former and current LTA North, NACL, and ERL players.
Yeah, we'll see if IG needs some pro-diffing after this one. As they have started off quite slow. Luckily for them, they have the tools to get themselves back into the game. They're not entirely behind. Like we said before, Gala doing a good job to at least keep up in terms of the gold going over to Hope. TheShy generating at least a small lead for himself with that Cassante on the top side as well. This is still a comp that has a lot of danger going into the later part of the game. AL needs to keep their pedal to the metal in this one to make sure they have full control. I'm looking at Dragon in under a minute. Definitely going to be something I imagine both teams want to prioritize.
Yeah, I definitely think so. A little bit of that stacking for anyone's legend, but a little bit of a halting of that potentially can be the recipe for IG. Still been a little bit of a stark contrast to what we've seen in the past of these two teams. The early game definitely getting out ahead for anyone's legend, but as we take a look, the first items are starting to come through here as well. So we get the unstoppable onslaught. Train express ride from Flandre to get back up towards topside and say hello to his dearest, TheShy. But besides that, nothing else going to come of it on the top side, although TheShy wants a little bit more of it here. Flandre probably took a little bit more damage than he wanted to in this moment. He does have the Q3 back. The all-out could be used, but TheShy just going to give him a little warm welcome off of his train ride. And I'm just going to say, Kman, if we ever meet at a train depot, please don't say hi to me like that. I don't want that.
Yeah, maybe I'll go about maybe a different method. Here we go.
Oh, my God. Maybe we say hi like this. IG have been engaged on. Tarzan going to use the Supreme Display. Tap with the three-man Timbers knock in there, as that's huge from Shanks, the pivotal piece to the puzzle here in game number 1. He finds the three-man into a double kill for Tarzan, and AL can do no wrong.
Everything going right for AL. It's a play that looks like it's going to, at the very least, be playable for IG. Shanks turns that in an instant with a massive, massive stun coming down. Timbers is still a huge ultimate for these teams, and quite frankly, AL is just executing better. We talked about both of these comps having the tools. Well, AL are utilizing those tools to take over the game right now, and IG just don't seem to have a response. We're going to get it in the replay here. They want to play aggressive. They see Kael and Tarzan with Hope here, but unfortunately, the damage is just a little bit too much. Gala can't spell shield in time for the Kiana ultimate, and at this point, once the spell shield is burned, Shanks can flash in, destroy that AD carry. The jungle goes down. Kael living is just insult to injury throughout this entire fight as well. Yeah.
On top of all that, I'm just going to shout it. I know it doesn't matter that much in most things. The Profane Hydra completion actually did so much in that fight with the AoE, the setup that he had there. I mean, that was an incredible fight take by AL to capitalize on the item spikes that they did have.
And that's what you get for winning early. That's the kind of advantage you can have, is all of a sudden things start to click a little bit more in these fights. And it's not done yet, man. Tarzan's up 2k gold by himself already in this game. Mazel, you said you wanted to see more assassins, more carry junglers. Well, I think this is the kind of game that influences people to play it a bit more.
They are here to stay. That's what we would have determined. All the top junglers are willing to go with these assassin junglers, and I'm so happy we are away from the Sejuani mines that we had, from all the supportive junglers that we had, and we're back to the promised land of true LPL fandom in assassin junglers. Watch out. Next up, Aki's coming back with his Zed at some point.
Aki's Zed looms over us all.
So it's a little bit of a throwback. But no, Tarzan is just so insanely ahead. I mean, he's at 2 items at 13.5 minutes. which they are cheaper items. But the fact that he has Profane Hydra and Axiom Arc already, this guy's pumping. And guess what? He's going to go to the tankiest member in TheShy, and he's still going to chunk him. Look at this damage he has on top of Tibbers. He's on the other side here. Got the Q3 knockback, but the stun is there, and Shanks picks up another one.
It's just free gold on the map at this point. Nobody is tanky enough for this Qiyana, especially with an Annie there. The worrying thing is that you pointed it out, Mazel. There are 2 completed items here for Tarzan, as we see Flandre ult into the mid lane. You're sitting on a book if you're Rookie on the other side of this, wondering where things are going. Alistair is yet to even complete an item in this game. It is truly starting to get dire for IG. They need to make something happen fast because this game is slowly, and not even slowly, very quickly getting out of control.
I listened to about half of what you said, and then a giant spider decided to walk up my wall. So, you know, I'm surrounded by scary things. I didn't kill it. It's still there. I'm just going to keep casting, and we're going to have fun. The spider is here.
To the elite support later.
Yes, exactly. The spider is here to enjoy LPL just like we are. But in all actuality, it's a 5,000 gold lead already for anyone's legend. This might be one of the biggest gold leads we've had all playoffs long this early into a game. And IG, they have lost a little bit of the spark. And yes, this is still a best of 5, but if we look back to that BLG series, it was a tough one to watch if you're an IG fan.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple days have not been good for this team. And, you know, I don't want to bring up some of the things that have happened earlier this year, or perhaps even some painful memories for Rookie fans in particular, but you know, they can be really streaky. This team has already shown itself to really go within the flow of the game, go on big win streaks and big loss streaks. And you know that Rookie has kind of been susceptible to that throughout his career. Hopefully that is not the case here for IG, but AL picking up right where they left off in Game 4 against NIP, crashing this Rift Herald into the mid lane.
Tarzan's just playing with his food right now, man. He can just run around here behind enemy lines. Goes with the supreme display of talent, just throws it out there. As that will be a side lane turret secured with the bounty from Rookie. So Rookie's got his side laning in tow here, what we set up for him from the draft, and just trying to pick up as much gold as he possibly can away from this Anyone's Legend squad.
Yeah, you gotta get gold somewhere on the map at this point, because there's really just nowhere that you feel you have control over. Get the Leona ult here, but...
Dude, Flandre is just so big. He's massive. He's gonna use the Unstoppable Onslaught to get out. Even though with all 3 members chunking him there, still doing pretty well on the health bar. So if we are just, bear with me. I'm the hopium guy. I'm always looking for an in to be positive. What do we have positivity-wise for IG right now? Because they are far behind, but we talked so much in the draft about their scaling comp, their 3-item spike.
Yeah, I think that is the hope right now, is that, you know, pun not intended, you eventually can get to a point here with Gala and TheShy where you should be able to fight in the late game. The problem is, I think AL scale really well in the front to back in that same way. A lot of it's going to be about how you can control those side lanes, but Dragon has spawned, and it could be huge to start taking away some of these stacking dragons from AL.
Yeah, I mean, if they can take away 1, that's 5 minutes bot. They already just got 2nd item for Gala. That's a big setup for him as well. The Navori Flicker Blades completed for him. His team fight potential just went through the roof as well. It's not the 3-item spike that you love, but it's at least something. And IG are going to force start this Dragon. Rookie goes for the pick off. Meiko trying to be the front line, trying to take this Alistar to the promised land here, but it gets the 3-hit Solar Flare onto 3 of them at least from this setup of AL. The Weaver's Wall comes in, but it doesn't block enough time at least. At least Supreme Display of Talent coming through, and the backline access from Hope finds Meiko. Meiko's health bar just got taken from him, and unfortunately Shanks just got taken off away into the far, far away lands from TheShy. He does end up going down anyways. Now Gala is under threat from Hope, who ends up coming up with a triple kill. They're trying to clean up the rest of IG now as well. There's a couple more. He might look for a penta himself, but it's going to be a little bit delayed at this point as they can't find way, and Rookie are the 2 that are the ones that are alive for IG, as AL still continue to find fights.
It absolutely could have been worse, though, for IG. I think that's absolutely the case. A pretty messy fight, all things considered. AL
oh, don't do this. Don't
continue
pressuring
this Dragon. Wei is still alive. He is the smite that's up. Tarzan down for 10 seconds. They're going to flip this. They will at least have that advantage, but Hope is very, very strong if he can get back here. Teleport coming in.
I do wonder if they're willing to take this. I mean, Flandre just gets chunked there. I think AL realized they just need to give this one away, and it will be IG who buy themselves 5 more minutes of dragon stacking potential here with this Infernal Dragon take.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge get here for IG. I think really the only thing you can hope for is to delay this as much as possible. The full engage happens here at the very least on Flandre. They try to burn him down. Knight is popped, but the knockup coming in. Gala has to cleanse so early on in this fight. Even Redemption is already dropped. So many cooldowns, so many resources have been used. Tarzan is going to land the ultimate, but not really. Not getting a huge one in this fight. Yeah, it's just a little bit too over-eager. Hope is able to get an ult off, but we're in picture-in-picture.
Oh, Meiko dies even after he flashes over the wall. The Weaver's Wall came in to try to block a little bit. TheShy goes and exit strategies with Flandre, but unfortunately he's being surrounded. He will end up flashing over. The Supreme Display of Talent finally hits, but it's going to be the insta-flash out of there as they do end up getting away. As that's multiple summoner spells burned. IG barely slinking out of that one with just 2 alive again.
Unfortunately for IG, the moment they come out of something that could be kind of positive for them, they end up getting dove under their tier 1 in the mid lane and just kind of lose all that pressure. If you were concerned that Tarzan was going to be the one stealing the spotlight, have no fear. Hope is taking over in this game on the Kaisa. We're going to get a replay of this, see how it started. The spell shield goes down early on the Kaisa W. Meiko just doesn't have the health bar to survive at this point. And once Kael goes in, this Alistar is insta-deleted. No way he dies a lethal tempo. But Rookie trying to pull anything back on the backline. At this point, Hope is free firing. He's even, half health, and it doesn't really matter. He can play so aggro throughout this entire fight. He just ults in on top of like a
God, what a
That's
Chad.
how you know things are going pretty well.
What an absolute Chad. Although IG have seemingly found Tarzan. Oh, he instantly dashes out of the Cataclysm. Still getting ran down. TheShy wants the angle, but Tarzan can just dash away again, and Tarzan goes to the rest of his team. Now Meiko caught out again. He's going to have to try to get it. He doesn't have the Unbreakable Will until 3 seconds from now. He is going to have it up now. TheShy's going in. There is the Redemption as well used. Way looking for a backline as now IG are just trying to get out of this one, I think. Tarzan's still playing with his health bar right now, and Way is no longer playing with his as he has been sent back to the grave. IG lose out of their bot side yet again.
I'm not sure Flandre can take damage in this game on the Scion. I think he can just tank forever during these exchanges. It's just a rout at this point. The gold difference is massive. We are looking at a 9k gold lead for AL. Flandre, as I speak, has to flash over the wall. Takes a couple of tower shots for his measure, but again, not in too much danger. Otacon is spawned here on the bot side. We'll see if AL want to pressure this now or maybe wait 2 minutes for that Infernal Dragon to spawn. Either way, they're going to be in a good position. How did Gala get caught here? Oh, just kind of got Kiana'd. Perfectly fine. Perfectly reasonable and normal experience.
Yeah, this is your normal ride. If you have any complaints, questions, make sure to submit it to the suggestion box. Tarzan is on 3 items now, by the way. Again, the caveat is they're cheaper. I don't care, honestly. 22 minutes in, 3 items is going to be ridiculous no matter what you have. And the fact that he has Serpent's Fang now as well, deal with a lot of the shielding that's coming in. AL just going to look to put the nail in the coffin of game number 1 here as they take this out of Kman now and force IG over for a fight.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to start up the dance early here, but they are looking like they're just baiting them. See how much they want to invest. Hope is not quite here yet. He is such a big piece of this fight. Once he gets here, though, I imagine AL are going to feel very aggressive.
Yeah, he himself is almost 3 items as well, but won't be for this fight at least. Anacon's actually going to be doing some work here on AL. Their resistance is going to be shredded, and Hope just says, let's go for the fight. They try to get Rookie out. One more auto would do it, but the Redemption saves his life. The Decimating Smash not enough, but Tarzan comes in with a supreme display of talent. Doesn't get much but 1 kill off the back of it, but it is a landslide coming out from AL as they dust IG right under their turret. Look how many tanking shots Flandre is, as it's massive from AL in this game number 1. 19-2, 23 minutes in.
It is going from bad to worse to unplayable for IG very quickly here. Poor Gala on Sivir is just not in a spot where he can play the game. He's getting dove over and over again. Hope at this point feels comfortable enough to engage on his own with the ultimate, and that's just where we are at with AL. It's just a dominating performance. And like we said, this is kind of what we saw in game number 4 for them versus Ninjas in Pajamas in that previous series. They ended that with a stomp, and they are showcasing that here. Even with Shanks getting caught by the seismic shove, the redemption coming down to heal up Gala, it just doesn't matter. So much damage is coming in. Tarzan just insta-deletes that Sivir, and at this point, the front line is there. I thought Flandre was, you know, tanky before. This guy's just sitting under tower, tanking tower shot after tower shot.
6. Oh, I was going to keep
6
counting.
or 7.
Yeah, I kept going. I wanted to keep going, but they didn't allow it. Yeah, I mean, it is just a masterclass performance from AL in this game number 1 at least. There'll be another dragon going their way, as the one dragon IG had taken earlier did delay their stacking, but 10,000 gold lead plus nonetheless for anyone's legend. And for this team, after getting knocked down early, maybe in a shocking series against Weibo, a team that, you know, had maybe had AL's number in the past as well, it was shocking to see them in the lower bracket, but then they looked like, you know, a dominant team yet again against NIP in their last series, and we're wondering if some of this momentum really is feeding into this potential back-to-back run for these guys.
Yeah, that NIP series was definitely a bit crazy. They lost 3 of the 4 early games and still were able to make it work. I don't think Wei's going to be able to make this one work.
Bye-bye,
oh,
Wei.
it's 4 levels down.
Insane, man. Insane. Jungle masterclass, jungle diff, whatever you want to call it. Tarzan is preying on Wei here in game number 1. And this is a terrifying, you know, stature. Oh my god! Oh no! 3-man Timbers into Tarzan, coming clean up behind the lines, as Rookie and TheShy are the only ones left, and it's about to only be TheShy, as though it's nobody. That's a triple kill coming through for Hope. It's a dominating game number 1 from anyone's legend. Over 15,000 gold in the lead now as they barrel down the mid lane and make a mark on this best of 5.
A massacre in game number 1 sets up for a very interesting rest of the series. We all picked IG in the predictions. We could all be looking at some losers' predictions as the rest of IG goes down. They watch their Nexus
from red
fall.
Side. They've got red side game number 1, and they come away with the win nonetheless. This is not only a couple things, a scary precedence for IG in terms of losing on blue side, but not only that is Tarzan's feeling himself tonight, man. I don't know what you can do to calm this guy down, chill him out, but if he's going like this in a game 1 on Kiana, what is the limit of this guy in this best of 5? I mean, he looks like he's out for vengeance.
Something's clicked with Tarzan in the past couple of days where he's just been like, you know what? Maybe I will get us to another championship. Maybe I will just go ahead and turn that back on. That was the inconsistent part of the regular season. Not anymore. Tarzan has been playing like the Tarzan we remember, like the #1 jungler in the LPL again. And if he does this for the rest of the series, I hate to say it, we might be saying goodnight pretty early on here.
Nah, it's 5 games, baby. We're going the distance. IG, not ones to go quietly into the night. I do expect this team to pick it back up. I'm sure they'll be back on blue side and a second attempt to take that win there as well. But we see how much this jungle prio has changed up the factors of this best of now. A lot of facilitation, a lot of standoff-ish from the side of IG, and trying to kind of wait and buy time to get to these 3 items, 4 items, really get to these team fights. But AL said, we're not doing that tonight. We're going early game. We are taking you to task with these objectives, and you have to be willing to match that. So I expect a little bit of a different approach from IG in game number 2 in terms of draft.
Definitely. I think they kind of just overthought the draft quite a bit. I think they had the tools to win this game for sure. You know, the early, jungle mistake in the bot lane, the double kill that ends up going over to AL really makes this game hard to win, but I also think you're limiting your options quite a bit with this draft. Things like Talia and Sivir, I think, are very flexible and very good, but you want to kind of pair them with things that you want to set up for. Sivir doesn't necessarily want to be that #1 option. Talia obviously not, necessarily wants to be that as well. And when you have something like a Jarvan in the jungle, maybe you do need that killer instinct coming from somewhere. You had it with the Kaisa and the Kiana on the other side. I would expect a more aggressive draft from Invictus in game 2.
Yeah, I definitely can, but my God, that was an avalanche of a game. I think Tarzan started off 4-0 and didn't look back. He had influenced every single lane after that roundabout game. Maybe the game-winning gank in that level 2, level 3 mark. I guess it was level 3 in the end. But just, again, going back to the way that Tarzan has played, the way that he has manipulated the jungle in favor of AL so many times before, why they got a championship last split was a lot off the back of Tarzan leading the way, and he's doing so again, and 16,000 gold down to finish the game for IG in game number 1.
16,000 gold down. You know, I never like pointing out terrible statistics, but Kael out damaging Wei in that game is never ideal tough. When your Leona is out damaging your jungler. That's a tough place to be, but that game was, I agree, over from that level 3 on the bot side. I think the moment you get kills onto Kiana,
we don't even get to
game
see it.
So hard. Yeah, we're skipping it over.
LPL, what are you
doing?
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, it's sad we don't get to see it. Oh well, I guess. But the snowball had already started from this point for AL. Unfortunately, IG couldn't really find much.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to play into a 4-kill Kiana and a 4-kill Kaisa. That's not an easy game for anybody. On top of the fact that, you know, we haven't really talked about him a ton. I mean, the flash ults from Shanks this game were magnificent on the Annie, really showcasing why that's been a huge pick for not only AL, but for a lot of teams here in the LPL. And don't forget, that's been Rookie's biggest champion throughout this year. It's his most played champion this split, and it's been a big pick for IG to take it away for AL in game number 1 and to have such a good game on it. It really is a massive swing, and it really does put IG on the back foot.
Yeah, I do wonder if this matters in the grand scheme of things against IG. I think it's a team that can easily just wipe this off the slate and come back into game number 2, but it was dominant, and so you have to ask those questions a little bit further. Still pretty quiet mid lane matchup. I mean, yes, some big moments from Shanks himself, but maybe a little bit less of an onus on this mid lane than we had expected or at least wanted to see coming into this one, as Rookie having a very quiet one on the Talia. But I think it's going to be all quiet from IG when the game goes like this, and this whole setup on the bot side was the end of the beginning.
Yeah, I think it's really tough for Rookie to play this game out. I'm not really blaming him for this one in particular. He stayed as even as he could against the Annie, which is really your job as Talia, is to make sure that you can at least go neutral against the Annie, who's going to have a good laning phase overall with the Kiana, and then utilize that side lane pressure. But by the time we got to 10 minutes in the game, IG were down 4k gold, and Kiana was out of control. It's really tough to play Talia in this particular instance. So, you know, it just kind of is what it is. But I imagine there are going to be more fireworks, especially, again, a lot of these safer picks are getting taken out. Annie, Talia, these are some of the higher priority, you know, just general team-oriented mid laners. You know, Galio might be one of the other ones, but there are a lot of carry mid laners that are still left up on the board that we could see the rest of this series.
There are, and I gotta say, I wasn't ready for a game 1 like this. I was ready for, you know, fisticuffs, rounds of fighting back and forth, objective setups left and right, all that good stuff. But all we got is a rough and tumble quick game in the end from anyone's legend. I do wonder who gets MVP for this one. I feel like it has to be Tarzan, but you might be able to argue for Hope in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, Tarzan won the game with that bot lane play, but Hope was the one that was playing the most aggressive in the fights. If you want to dock, and I mean, we're really, you know, picking at straws here, but like, if you want to dock Tarzan for not hitting multiple ultimates this game, I think there is something to be said about that.
He was just throwing them out, dude. He didn't care where they were going. He just threw it left, threw it right, says, am I going to hit somebody? He was fishing. He was fishing. That's what it was.
Zoning ultimates. Zoning Kiana ultimates indeed. But
all right,
yeah,
it is going to be Kiana.
The game.
Really quick, Brad, as we come out of this one, I want to see if we can stick with it for just a second. I want to see if the first play they show is that gank, because I would love to see that gank again, and I'm so sad we didn't get to see it in the actual play. But 819, you know, almost 70% KP on the Kiana. It sets a dangerous setup.
Let's go.
Here we go. We don't get to see the entirety of it, but this is what matters.
Yeah, I mean, this was the game-ending play. Like, Tarzan showing up, and I do want to critique Wei taking Scuttle Crab, watching his bot lane get way too low. If you go 2 seconds earlier, perhaps some things change, but that is the margin of error in a series like this. You can't make mistakes like that. Hopefully, IG can bounce back for game 2.
Yeah, and AL, don't do anything. Stay exactly how you are, because that looks real dominant. You got to remember, this is a final life in the playoffs themselves for both of these organizations. So a lot on the line between the two, and I want to see a good standard 5 games of the LPL playoffs. Before we get going, though, if you'd like to support the LPL English product, make sure you consider becoming a Coffee member. Coffee is the best way to support the LPL English product directly. Your contributions go directly to supporting the volunteers that make this show happen on a daily basis all year long. So please make sure you go check out our coffee, go subscribe. It's linked in chat. You can unlock some perks alongside it, but it's the best way to